readers,
reviewers,
countrymen,
lend us your ears.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. Welcome to the Brothers Gwynne channel. We're really excited today to talk about our favourite Audible listens of the year so far. It is June. We're nearly halfway through the year. Are we halfway through or nearly?
Nearly.
Maybe.
5.5 months.
But anyway, we are going to be talking today about our favourite Audible listens. Now, we do actually have some pretty similar. Some are on both of our lists, but that's just because they've been so great. And we do try and keep tabs on each other's reading. And hopefully, sometimes our Audible library is shared, isn't it? So we do try and share some of those.
I think when you can whisper into the other person's ear to force them to read a book every day, it ends up that you read a lot of the similar things.
The blade itself.
Red Rising. We could do that for a long time. But anyway, let's just get straight into it and talk about... So we're doing our top 10 Audible reads, 5 each, and let's just get into it.
Let's get into it. Should we get into it?
I
reckon we should get into it.
Yeah, we should get into it.
Could get out of it. No, let's get into it.
The
first book I'm choosing is The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. The Graveyard Book is like Neil Gaiman's version of The Jungle Book, say, where instead of a feral boy running around in the forest being raised by wolves and panthers and bears, oh my, he's actually being raised by the undead and draugrs, basically, in a graveyard. The opening chapter of the Graveyard Book
civilized.
is very civilized. It's excellent. They've got a body there who's actually from the Roman period.
Yeah.
They've also
it's
got
awesome. He takes them all the different periods.
People from the Victorian era and all that. They all teach Bod. His name's Nobody.
Yeah, I love it.
But the first chapter is amazing. Neil Gaiman actually narrates his own book. He's got a really nice tone of voice. I would really recommend this to anyone who hasn't really listened to much Audible before. He sounds very melancholic, but also really emotional, and he's just got a really nice tone anyway. His delivery is excellent. It must be quite a privilege to be an author and also be able to narrate your own book, because you know exactly how to deliver it, which is fantastic.
As you were saying, if you have the voice for it, I think it seems like the way to go, doesn't
absolutely. And I think The Graveyard Book, well, it is actually really a children's book, but it's written with many layers. It's a little bit like Shrek. If we keep going back to Shrek, it's an onion. And you just peel off that layer, and there's lots and lots for people older who can, lots of them to grasp onto, lots of them to take back into their reading experience, which is great. I use this book at school when I'm being a teacher, when I'm teaching my class, showing some of my children the opening chapter, and we analyse some of the language. It's beautiful, it's excellent. If you can hear a lamb, it is Edith again, so please say hello to her in the comments. She does like to read and check up on us, so let us know.
Yeah, she has a pad and a clipboard. She checks how many pages you've read each day. It'd be quite cool if she did do that. I also chose The Graveyard Book. I was a bit torn between The Ocean at the End of the Lane and The Graveyard Book. But
I think the story is better.
That's what I was going to say. I think the Neil Gaiman's narration of The Ocean at the End of the Lane is heartbreaking.
Oh, it's too sad.
And so probably for performance, that's probably higher. But we're talking about our favourite Audible listens, so not just
not just delivery.
This is we're combining the performance and story into one.
Yeah. And
for that, The Graveyard Book is one of my favourite reads of 2021. Already, I read it quite a few years ago originally, but reading it again, I was just reminded by why I love it. And when you're older, you understand so much more about it. As you were saying, I think that's part of the beauty with Neil Gaiman, is that he has so many of those layers. It's so multifaceted that there's meaning to a child who's reading it, and it's funny, it's interesting, engaging.
Yeah.
But there's so much more. And there's a lot of philosophical life lessons in it as well. And I think the way Neil Gaiman does it is just perfect, and it is so creative and imaginative as well. Graveyard Book is fantastic. If you've not already read it, no matter what age you are, you really should get into it, whether physical or on audiobook. I highly recommend.
And on to my next choice, it is Golden Sun by Pierce Brown, read by Tim Gerald Reynolds, I believe. Golden Sun is just a brilliant book, a whole mix of really nice performance by Mr. Tim, and also an excellently written and really brutal book in Golden Sun by Pierce Brown. I think the book is excellent. I think it's probably my favourite of the Red Rising trilogy, just because it feels a little bit like Ruin in Faith from the Fallen, how it totally ruins the reader right at the end. What I really like about Golden Sun is that straight away Pierce Brown, from the very first chapter, tries to change our perception of Darrow, and some things go wrong, which I really like, rather than being the Mary Sue, Gary Stu kind of character, where everything goes right, some things go wrong, and Darrow, it feels a little bit more human, which is exactly what I was looking for after finishing Red Rising. But anyway, Golden Sun, that's my choice. What's your choice, Will?
And again, I'm actually picking the same one as you. I'm picking Golden Sun.
So similar.
I know, we are,
We
aren't
finish
we?
each other's...
Sandwiches.
If you finish my sandwich, I would eat you.
You're like Ungoliant.
You're not my child.
Ungoliant ate herself.
She ate herself?
She was so hungry, she ate herself. That's myth. Anyway, that's what they think happened. She may still be alive.
She ate herself?
She ate herself.
That's
she was
dedication.
so hungry.
I mean, you must be pretty starving. I'd eat like a toe. Or like a finger. But
I think this is a bad rabbit hole to go down.
How does she eat her mouth?
These are the sort of questions that we put up with each other. I ask similar questions.
When we get up really early for school, we sit there having breakfast and we just ask the most random things.
I think Papa Gwynne has actually written quite a few down because he said they're so random they have to be recorded. So maybe one day we'll share some of them. But back to Golden Sun. I think, it is really great. Back to Golden Sun.
Let's get back to business.
Little
Mulan
reference there. I think Alan at Library of Alexandria.
Yes, oh yeah, he does.
He has that for a lot of his...
Great idea.
It is great, isn't it?
Alan reminds me a little bit of Mushu. How funny he is, actually. Mushu's my favourite character, so that's no insult.
So it's a compliment.
Yeah,
it is a compliment.
absolutely.
As Ed said, Tim Gerald Reynolds is the narrator for the Red Rising trilogy, and he's so great. I mean, he really brings to life all the characters. I think even if Darrow isn't your favourite character, he brings a whole surrounding cast to life. People like Severo and Mustang and Augustus. And all these characters, whether you love them or hate them, you love to hate them, all the combinations of these words that I can put together, I think that he really has done a fantastic job bringing that to life. But Pierce Brown also has a fantastic prose and a great story as well. I think some people, it seems that they see it as a bit of a spin-off of Hunger Games, but I think that's
Book 2 completely shifts that,
It does, and I think that's just oversimplifying it, really. I think there's nothing new under the sun, that's the phrase, isn't it? And he's got inspiration, it seems, for Red Rising from Hunger Games, but he's put his own tone on it, his own spin, and it really works. And as he said, Golden Sun, oh my word, what an ending. I mean, I'm still reading from it. I finished it, when we're recording, I finished it yesterday, so I'm still reading from that. I think I was in the last little segment and you started talking to me and I was like, not now, not now. And I was just like, zoning in. I was like, I cannot stop for anything.
Yeah, I was driving and I was looking at William like, okay, why is he just ignoring me? And he had these headphones in, and his face was like this. And I was like, okay, why are you doing this? And usually his answer is, oh, I didn't realise. But this time he was like, I'm listening to Golden Sun. I was like, oh, I understand.
I was like, I have to get my priorities straight right now. Golden Sun is the priority.
Good choice, Will. My third choice is Hellmouth by Philip Stevens. Philip Stevens narrates it. It's written by Giles Christian. Did you choose the same?
I did. Surprise, surprise.
Oh dear. But anyway, that just shows how good it is. Hellmouth is actually a novella, and I think it's a testament to Hellmouth's brilliance that a novella has actually made it onto this list, because it gives you so much less time to experience the world and get to grips with the characters. But Hellmouth is Giles Christian's first foray into the medieval period. Obviously, he does early medieval with the Viking Age, and also pre-medieval with the Romano-British era as well of Arthur. But he has gone on to the 14th century, a band of warriors, a group of knights/mercenaries, such as the group in Black Death, led by Sean Bean. They are hired for a mission to visit a castle in, I believe the real castle's in, is it Czech Republic?
Somewhere in Europe.
Somewhere like that. That narrows it down.
Somewhere in Europe.
It could be from France to Russia. Who knows?
You can explore for a long time trying to find this castle.
Anyway, it's about this group of people going to visit this castle. Now, this castle is true. This piece of history is true. The castle is built in such a way that is facing inwards rather than trying to defend outwards. So it's trying to stop something within getting out rather than trying to stop something outwards getting into the castle, which made people believe at the time that it was a portal to hell.
I mean, for people to spend the funds that it takes to make a castle to stop something
from getting out.
And there's a hole in the middle.
When William told me the premise for that, I had goosebumps. I was like, holy smokes, this is going to be cool. And holy smokes, was it cool. Philip Stevens is probably my favourite Audible narrator, which takes a lot to take the crown from Stephen Pacey, as Stephen Pacey is a master. Philip Stevens just had something about the way he delivers Giles Christian's characters. I cannot wait to listen to Philip Stevens narrating Ben Kane very soon, which hopefully will go on to next month. Because I think he's just such a good narrator. But Hellmouth is excellent. William, I'll let you talk a little bit about Hellmouth now.
Yes, as we say, it's set in the 14th century, and it blends between historical and horror, which something I've never seen before, blending those two genres, really.
Yeah.
And Philip Stevens, they said, "Oh my, what a narrator!"
A little bit like Bone Tomahawk, isn't it? How it
is a
has
bit, actually, yeah.
That drumbeat of dread all throughout.
Oh, don't! I mean, the tension just gets. You think, okay, something's going to happen now, and the tension's going to drop a bit.
Yeah.
Nope. It's going and going and going, and I've never felt fear.
The ending, the voice.
Never felt fear whilst listening to an audiobook. Well, Philip Stevens thought, I'm going to change that.
Yeah, he's like, hold my beer.
And I got to a certain scene I won't say for spoilers. You should listen and find out yourself. Don't do it when you're alone. Just sit with company further away. They can leave you to yourselves, but you know that you're not.
Yeah, don't listen
in
to it in
danger.
the dark.
Definitely not.
I was
listening to it at night. I mean, if you're in a castle facing inwards, are you what they're trying to keep out?
Maybe.
But Philip Stevens, really fantastic narration, and Giles Christian is one of my favourite authors out there, and Hellmouth just is another addition to the ranks of his books that rank so highly, in my opinion.
And my next choice was The Wolf of Wessex, another historical fiction book, this time by the awesome Matthew Harvey. Matthew Harvey is a great author, and The Wolf of Wessex is no exception. It's a standalone set in the 8th or 9th century, I believe, in Britain at the time when the Danes were invading Britain, obviously. And it's basically True Grit in the 9th century. If John Wayne had a sword, which is pretty cool. So if you can hear our sister singing in the background, you can say hi to Harry as well. Harriet is singing. She loves to sing. She's in the sun at the moment. But anyway, The Wolf of Wessex, its delivery was excellent by Barnaby Edwards. I recently put out a poll on my Twitter asking who people's favourite Audible narrators were, and Barnaby Edwards came up. He crops up quite a lot, actually.
Do you know what else he's narrated?
No, I have no idea. I thought you were going to say...
No, I didn't have an answer really.
No, but in that case, I do not know. I know that he's narrated Matthew Harvey and the Bernicia Chronicles, or Bernicia, Bernicia, what would you say?
Bernicia?
Yeah, possibly.
I think Bernicia.
Okay.
Not
a hard to say.
Don't quote me though.
Not sure. William said Bernicia.
Yeah.
But anyway, so The Wolf of Wessex is great if you want to read that classic tale, True Grit style story where a veteran is helping a young person find or just look after them, kind of, found family, that kind of thing, in a historical fiction setting. Then this will be your cup of tea, or should I say cup of mead or ale.
And now Ed and I are actually diverging in our picks. So the next, I haven't actually read Wolf of Wessex. Shame on me. I haven't read any, no slaps this time.
I'm joking.
I haven't read any Matthew Harvey yet, which is terrible. I need to make a foray into his work soon.
Yes.
And I'm really looking forward to that. But for now, my next pick is Priest of Bones by Peter McLean.
Good choice.
Which is narrated by David Morley Hale. Talking about David Morley Hale first, fantastic. I mean, I feel like
gritty edge.
I feel like his voice was made for a series like Priest of Bones.
Yeah.
So Priest of Bones is Peter McLean's first instalment in War for the Rose Throne series, which I believe there's going to be 4 installments of. Yeah. And the 4th one, the title was released recently, wasn't it?
Yes, Priest of Crowns.
Priest of Crowns, that's a cool last name. But anyway, back to Priest of Bones. This is basically, I would say, it's a mixture of Peaky Blinders meets The Godfather.
Bada bing, bada bing, bada boom.
Bada bing, bada boom. A bit of a Sunny reference from The Godfather there. And it really takes on those themes of family, as well as good characters doing bad things. And it's up to you to decide whether that has tainted them, and whether they go too far. I mean, the question with a lot of these kind of books, with these gang warfare, is about where is the line? Like, you need to protect family, but how far do you go?
Mm-hmm.
And that question really is asked about Thomas Piety, who leads this crew of his into his old home, which is a city where he's trying to reclaim some of his businesses.
Yeah. Some
Business
medieval gangsters.
is an interesting word for it. But anyway, it is really fantastic. I mean, Papa Gwynne and you have been recommending this series to me for the past year, and it seems like you really do know me well, because I started this and straight away I was like, this is my kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I loved.
It's your cup of gin.
It is my cup of gin, or beer, or ale, or cider, or anything.
Oh, they drink brandy. Your cup of brandy. That's it.
Brandy. My cup of brandy. So Priest of Bones, fantastic. If you've not already read it, you really should give it a go. It's not too long, I don't think. It's only a few hundred pages.
Yeah.
So really, please do give Priest of Bones a try on Audible or physically. I think Papa Gwynne read it physically, and he said that he loved it. And you listened to it on Audible, and so have I. So across both boards, it's meant to be brilliant.
And my final pick is The Black Tongue Thief by Christopher Buehlman. I recently finished this and I was really, really surprised with how excellent the Audible delivery was. It's actually narrated by, again, the author himself, Christopher Buehlman. I think he's American, but he had a really nice Irish accent in this, and it's very, very kind of, I think there aren't too many anyway, Audible listens out there where you have an accent that is not English, British English, or American, and it was really refreshing to listen to something with an Irish accent.
It just makes it really unique. Again,
it does. I don't know why there's not
more
more Audible out there with people having different accents. Like I would love to read Bernard Cornwell's books, but with someone a Dane maybe narrating it, that kind of thing.
Can you imagine how that would be awesome?
It'd be so cool, so much more authentic. I read the Whale Road, and that had a Scottish narrator, which doesn't really fit either, but still, that was it. I think it was just, it gave it another layer, it gave it a different edge, didn't it? So but anyway, The Black Tongue Thief is very similar to Kings of the Wild in terms of its humor. It's very funny D&D style book. The main character, Kinch, is going to win a lot of people's hearts. He's going to be in lots of people's lists for their favourite protagonist by the end of the year. I can assure you. He's absolutely excellent, and the delivery by Christopher Buehlman was fantastic. There's so many great references here. I love the way the story is written, the prose, and the style of first person, which usually I wasn't a massive fan of. I think Red Rising was one of the first books I read that was actually first person. And since then I've read quite a few actually, but I think The Black Tongue Thief is going to be a massive debut for this year. It's I would really highly recommend it. Yes, yeah. But debut just anyway. So I think it's excellent. I'd really recommend it to many people. It's going to tick a lot of boxes for people. If you like a quest, if you like a funny character, if you like a book that tugs at your heartstrings, if you like great big fantasy creatures, if you like a little bit of characters traveling on a boat, if you like duels, and if you like twists, this is going to be your kind of thing.
And also The Black Tongue Thief. Do you know if it's a standalone or part one to a series?
Maybe. No, I'm not too sure, to be honest.
Okay. Does it? But it feels like it.
Yeah, it sets up definitely sets up a book two, similar to The Coward.
Yeah, because I just thought I hadn't heard of the title of the series. So it might be a standalone, but
that is true.
Guess we'll find out. Now on to my last Audible pick for this video. I chose The Gospel of Loki, written by Joanne M. Harris.
Good choice.
And it is narrated by Alan Corduna. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. He is someone else who I feel like he was built for this book. Gospel of Loki, obviously talking about Norse mythology. I've read quite a few books of Norse mythology, such as Neil Gaiman's... the drink nearly fell. Such as Neil Gaiman's Norse mythology, which I did enjoy, but I thought that it wasn't very fresh. I mean, we love these tales, don't we?
It's more bare bones.
Yeah, it felt like just a regurgitation of what we've heard before. Obviously, with Neil Gaiman's wonderful prose, but there didn't feel like there was much else that was new. Gospel of Loki changes all of that. I think it's just genius to turn it on its head by having Loki as the protagonist and as the perspective. I mean, you don't trust a single thing he says, but that does not detract from how fun and engaging and just hilarious this is. Alan Corduna's accent for Loki and his enunciation and his pronunciation of everything just perfectly suits how smug and sly he is, while still telling a story at the same time.
Funny. Yeah,
it works to
excellent.
build the world, the characters, the plot, and everything in one.
Yeah.
Joan M. Harris, wonderful prose. Really, it's the first book I've read by her.
Yeah, me too.
And the prose is really wonderful, very fluid and accessible. I think this is a book that it will appeal to everyone, whether you're already a hardcore fan of Norse mythology or whether you want this to be your introduction. I think that really everyone will love it. And Alan Corduno, if you do like Audible, I would recommend listening to this on Audible, because he does it in a fantastic way. He keeps you in the loop while making you laugh and introducing something just so unique that as we were saying, that a lot of the books that have made this list are because they add something new that most others don't, and this is no exception.
Thanks for watching our favourite Audible listens of the year. This has been a great video that we've really enjoyed. We had a few listens that were similar.
Yeah, so it was meant to be our top 10, but I think it boiled down to a top
like
7
or something like that. Yeah. So, but you know, we love Audible. That is such a great other format of listening and enjoying to artwork. So, you know, thank you guys for watching this video. Are there any Audible listens that you have listened to this year that you've really enjoyed? Have you ever read Audible? Have you ever listened to Audible before? Is that
because it is really growing in the last year? I think a lot because of lockdown. I think a lot more people have been engaging with ebooks and Audible.
Yeah.
Definitely me as well. I think I only started listening to it at the beginning of last year, and I think it really is something I'm happy I got engaged with. Really.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's just just another way of enjoying those stories that you love. You know, I've really enjoyed at the moment actually reading a book and then listening to it again on Audible if I love it. You know, you can follow on a lot easier. You know what's going to happen, but you can just see how someone interprets the characters in a different way, and you can see them in a different light, which is excellent. You know, so I've loved it. Let us know in the comments, guys, if you enjoyed this video, and if you'd like to see more Audible videos in the future. We would like to be able to talk, maybe do some interviews with some Audible narrators, some of our favourites.
Hopefully in the future,
Hopefully, fingers crossed in the future. So let us know if there are any Audible narrators that you would love us to get in touch with.
So for now, truth and courage, the Brothers Gwynne.
Stay safe. The truth and courage.
The truth and courage.
Truth and courage.
The Brothers Gwynne.